Hello? Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us today in this small side event, and welcome to all our members and to the other associations that are in presence, still, and the ones that are remote. I think they are all connected, so please good morning to all of them. Can you show in... Possiamo vedere uno screen, così li vediamo? Ok. Togliamola. Okay. So I think everyone can hear me even remotely. We have decided to organize this second meeting for the Tech7 after a long cooperation we had in the last year. We work closely with all the members and all our associations connected to ICT because we thought that it was important for us all to be involved in the discussion that the G7 presidency has promoted about digital policies, the tech industry. A lot of our topics were in the agenda before we discussed together, and a lot of topics were in the previous presidency in Japan. So I think that we had a very strong cooperation, and we decided to rebate some contents we have already discussed in April during our meeting in Rome. So I was very rapid just to welcome all of you and thank for all your staff and your membership to work together with us. This morning we have a small discussion with an introduction from Mr. Dal Checco, my president, so welcome to Massimo too, and then a small roundtable together with the tech associations connected from remote. And then we ask also our members to have a reaction about the priorities for the next G7 presidency, and I think Angela will join at the very end to wrap up the content and prepare the discussion for 2025. I think there are a lot of topics on the table and a lot of priorities to discuss together even next year, and so it will be a profitable and fruitful discussion altogether. So Massimo, I'll leave you the floor and for your speech.
Grazie. Grazie, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and my warmest welcome to Villa Erba. I'm glad to see many colleagues participating from all over the world, both online and in person at this stunning venue. Also, let me thank the Common Lake organizing staff for hosting us here. I would like to thank the Tech7 Association. Your commitment has been steady during this past year, and all of you provided invaluable input and made it possible for the global tech industry to be heard loud and clear throughout this year's G7. Finally, let me thank our member companies, not only for attending this meeting today and taking part to our debate, but most of all, constantly engaging in our work and never letting any of our questions unanswered in this past year. The 2024 G7 will be remembered as the Artificial Intelligence G7. Last year, the Japanese presidency started an important work on drafting of the Hiroshima Principles. And I want to express my deepest appreciation for the incredible effort the Italian presidency has put into building on that work. We are witnessing the creation at the strongest global discussion platform on AI the G7 has never seen. AI, as I speak, the 18th ministerial meeting in this year's G7 is taking place just a few meters from us. Really few meters from us here. And it will be the last such meeting related to digital policy. Most importantly, almost every meeting and every ministerial declaration has addressed AI. It has not been just words, but actual high-impact projects I can mention. The AI Hub for Sustainable Development, the reporting framework of the Hiroshima Process Code of Conduct, the toolkit of AI for the public sector, the G7 report on AI adoption in micro and small enterprises. I will come back on this project later. Clearly, AI has not been the sole focus on the G7, and I was not even the only important digital fish that has been discussed. This year's work has also addressed the important topics on our industry's future, like critical raw materials. Other crucial technology matters such as e-government and digital identity, cybersecurity, 5G and 6G, quantum computing and digital public infrastructure have also been covered. It has been an impressive body of work, and I would like to thank all the G7 countries' governments on behalf of the global tech industry we represent. The centrality of the public debate in the G7 agenda of the digital topics made the case for a strong commitment from G7 countries, tech industries representatives. This is why we decided to start actively bringing input to governments involved in the G7 with a 2-day tech conference in Rome in April, during which we signed our joint declaration. Two fundamental principles consistently unite us. First off, public-private partnership are essential for building advanced and inclusive innovation projects. Second, we advocate for global competition in an open world. This competition should not overshadow cooperation and shared challenges. We must strike a balance that fosters innovation while addressing global issues collectively. We can proudly affirm that this presidency has fully recognized our role in the G7 proceedings, and the tech7 has been granted this parallel event to the digital ministerial meetings. Moreover, the tech7 role in explicitly referenced is in helping to draft the recommendation of the G7 report on AI adoption in MSEMEs, which was represented just a few days ago in Rome. This year's experience has taught us that collaboration between our organization will always be effective and pay its dividends. Innovation is a driving force for a future of growth, inclusion, and well-being all over the world. The tech industry representatives are and will always be fully committed of building this future. To achieve this, governments and businesses must work together, listen to each other, and cooperate. We know that regulation and policies are fundamental, but we must emphasize whenever necessary that these rules need to be shared, proportionate, and understandable to industry actors. To do this, we need to keep raising our voice in the future. This is why our meeting today is also a way to symbolically pass the baton to our colleagues and friends at TechNation Canada, as their government will take over the G7 presidency in 2025. As Tech7, over the past few years, we have laid a strong foundation to face the upcoming common challenges. We stand ready to keep our good work together and reinforce cooperation with the Tech7 in a view of candidate Canadian presidency. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Massimo. I think we have, first of all, I will just leave the floor for the intervention to the Tech7 to highlight. Our purpose was to highlight the takeover from this presidency, what is the last topics we have to the next presidency. So we'll just make the point for the Canadian president too. So I'll leave the floor to Stella, who's here together. Stella Morapit is the Director General from AFNUM from France.
Thank you very much, and thank you for hosting me here. Dear Mr. Del Cecco, dear colleagues from Anitec-Assinform and all the trade associations that are present online, and of course, enterprise representatives here, thank you very much to give me the opportunity to talk to you about AFNUM's vision for 2025, especially, namely during the Canadian presidency of Tech7. If AI in electronics is something that has been present for the last decade at least, we have a lot of AI that is built in our products or in our services. It suffers to think about what you have in your smartphones and the AI which is included in the photography features of your smartphones, or AI when you are actually consulting a search engine. This exists since a long time. But with frontier AI and generative AI, actually, they have accelerated the pace and the scale of AI systems, making it complex actually to understand and assess both the interactions between the different variables of the AI systems and, of course, their impacts on the global markets. So today, I decided to take a specific axe in my intervention, which is not to speak to you about the numerous questions that AI raises, like the nature of and use and transfer of data, cybersecurity, biases, hallucinations, deepfakes, risk management, environmental and social impacts. But I will try to analyze AI through a different angle, which for me is going to be one of the angles which are crucial for 2025, which is AI for good. In fact, AI has the capability of mitigating the same effects it creates. If we take it on the environmental angle, you all know that data centers activity is going to explode. Actually, Google boss Sundar Pichai said that the need for computing for AI has been multiplied by 1 million in 6 years, and it increases 10 times every year. And if you ask a question to a search engine or to a generative AI like ChatGPT, the consumption of energy you have goes to from 1 to 10. Cornell University, if we talk about water consumption, made some estimations at the end of 2023, and they estimated that AI could consume up to 6.6 billion cubic meters of water. It's slightly over the consumption of a country like Denmark. So these are, the starting points. But at the same time, if you take AI coupled with other technologies like virtual reality, like 5G, like IoT and Edge, you can have substantial reductions in all the environmental metrics. Let's take, for instance, logistics. Several of my members who are also here, although they are the Italian subsidiaries, but they have worked together in ports all over Europe, in the UK, in Italy, and also in Rotterdam. So if we take the example of Livorno port, Ericsson, one of AFNO's members, managed, by using AI coupled with 5G, to reduce the CO2 impact of the port by more than 8%, and at the same time increasing the productivity by 25% and reducing costs of 2.5 million euros a year. If we take the Rotterdam port, Cisco and IBM have worked together again with AI systems and 5G in order to decrease by 2030 by half the emissions of the port in Rotterdam. This is a logistics example, but we can take flow management like traffic management and connected traffic lights or parking lots. They reduce a lot, of course, the emissions of greenhouse gases. If you take energy consumption in buildings, by coupling actually the measure of external variables like the weather, humidity, heat, or whatever, with the presence within the building of persons, you can actually reduce lighting, heating, and air conditioning of a substantial amount. Water management, because we talked about water, AI is used to reduce water leakage. And one of the main causes of excessive water consumption is water leakage in the system, water distributing system. But you can also monitor humidity, hygrometry, irrigation needs in agriculture. And last but not least, one subject that is very dear to me because it's very concrete is AI in industry. The use of AI in industry can actually make easier predictive maintenance, but also quality control throughout the production line. And it can also facilitate environmental approaches. We visited 2 weeks ago the site of the biggest steel producer in France, ArcelorMittal, and they use actually AI system coupled with IoT and coupled with 5G in order to monitor the recycled steel that they want to enter the production, because there are now some strong inputs in France in order to include in production recycled materials. And so they can monitor it at a distance to avoid explosions whenever they reintegrate this recycled materials in the production lines. So last but not least, if we look at productivity gains in industry, they have been estimated at 20% by 2035 in France. And a recent report, which is led by Anne Bouvreau, and my colleague Isabel will certainly talk about her because she's the lead for the next big AI Action Summit, which will take place in France in February, the 10th and 11th of February. So this lady has actually managed also a report for the government, and the report says that by 2035, the use of AI can correspond in terms of GDP to a second industrial sector and employ more than 80,000, creating more than 80,000 new jobs. So the impacts are great, and I want you to see also the other side, not only the crucial issues, but also the net impact that AI can have. So to conclude, we can say that AI has the capacity to solve the issues it creates, for instance, by helping to minimize the energy consumption of different sectors of the economy, or by automating complex tasks to improve productivity. Which will be the challenge for our governments? Several points. The first point, measuring. Because in order to be able to evaluate the net impact of AI between negative impacts and positive ones, we have to be able to measure. And to be able to measure internationally, standards are crucial because, of course, we have to have the same methodologies ideally. Then, of course, we have, and Mr. President said it, to find the right balance between innovation and regulation. Regulation shouldn't hinder innovation. Then standardization comes also into industrial processes because, of course, if ideally we can standardize AI systems worldwide, then we will reach the economies of scale, which will enable us to have a positive effect of AI used in industry. And last but not least, of course, the priority should go to sustainable conception of AI system in order to reduce durably the environmental impact. So that's the point that I wanted to make to you. It's maybe a little bit different from what you expected, but I think it's going to be one of the main issues for 2025 works. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stella. I think Sabina Cioffi from Tech UK should be remotely connected. Se non risponde, vabbè, se non risponde passiamo al prossimo. Oh, let's say, June Nakaya? C'è, Sabina? Okay. Sabina, I'll leave you the floor in 1 second. Can you unmute your microphone, please? I think you're muted. We can hear you. 1 second. We can try put another one. Okay. Maybe, Sabina, we have some problem with your microphone. Can you just maybe get out and get in once back, or... To the next one, okay. Sabine, I'm sorry because I can hear you. Maybe you can just get out and get in once again because we can't hear at all. And maybe we can go through Juna Kaya. I think you are connected to us. I mean, after 3 years pandemic, we still have problems with connections from remote. It's always there. You always know that the problem is there. C'è qualcuno che li sentirà. Non lo so, io non li sento. Eh? Ah, è un problema di audio. Okay. Guys, sorry. Maybe you can dance a few minutes. Okay, I can dance or I can sing. I can do whatever you want because we have some problem with the audio, the stereo. Before I pass the voice to our colleagues because we have some problem. It's always there. You do the check before and everything's working. Then you go live and nothing's working. It's always there. We do a tech7 on audio and streaming and so on. Nothing is over. Digital companies are there. Can just do something over there. No, don't count on you, Alessandra. Okay, it's fine. Thank you for the support. Che problema abbiamo? C'è qualcuno che si è svegliato dopo le 5.
Oh, I can speak.
Great, I can hear you. Ciao Sabina. No, chi è questo? Ah, Yun. Yun, are you there?
So this is John Nakaya from Data. I can speak.
Okay, perfect. We can hear you
okay.
because we previously we didn't hear anyone. So maybe in a few seconds, probably we will see you too. It's a kind of a problem after so many years with connections from remote, and the technicians are working on it. But let's say we're gonna go you live. Can you hold on 1 second too? Guys, I can do anything on this point. It's not in my hands. I really can do anything. Cioè, non mi guardate così. Not mine. No. Non so perché non va. Okay. Oh, I can see everyone, even if, okay. June, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Chair. So I want to mention about AI and twin transition. And first of all, I'd like to express my gratitude for the fruitful discussion and held under the Italian presidency at the G7 2024, aimed at promoting innovation and addressing global common challenges. The Hiroshima AI process has made significant progress since its inspection at the G7 Hiroshima Summit in May 2023, led by Japan. This initiative focuses on creating a global governance framework for advancing AI systems, enhancing safety, security, and reliability. Its key outcomes include the development of international guideline principles for all AI actors and the International Code of Conduct for organizations developing advanced AI systems. These guidelines encourage transparency, accountability, and ethical AI use by both developers and users, with a particular focus on generative AI. The comprehensive policy frame of the Hiroshima AI process, which includes these two guidelines, holds great significance as the first international framework aimed at addressing advanced AI systems such as generative AI. In 2024, under the presidency of Italy, I commend the continued work on the Hiroshima AI process. This year, the focus has been on refining the Hiroshima AI process through the introduction of a reporting framework to monitor compliance with the International Code of Conduct. A pilot system involving multinational organization was conducted from July to September 2024 to test this framework, and the results to be finalized in the coming months are highly appreciated. Our industry and organization have a proven track record of playing an important role in developing various guidelines and technical standards. Building on this experience, we will actively contribute to the promotion of sustainable and safe AI development and deployment. Given the rapid development of technologies such as generative AI, Continued international cooperation and dialogue are essential to ensure the safe and effective use of AI. Tech7 should continue to lead discussion next year, working with governments of G7 countries and regions and international organizations such as the OECD and GPI to ensure that AI benefits the world. Next topic is the twin transition. The twin transition is a critical concept for realizing a sustainable future through both digital technology and environment efforts. Innovation in digital technology requires not only improving the efficiency of a business and society, but also promoting sustainable development with minimal environmental impact. Therefore, collaboration between business, governments, and international organizations is necessary to advance initiatives that integrate both digital and green approaches. Currently, global efforts are underway to achieve carbon neutrality and improve energy efficiency. And this concept, the transparent, in this context, the traceability and visualization of carbon data within supply chain play a vital role. Ensuring security and reliability is crucial for analyzing data and working across supply chain to reduce emissions. Implementing the concept of DFFT, data free flows trust, will significantly contribute to achieving carbon neutrality, and a mechanism that promotes the use of safe and reliable digital technology are anticipated. At JETA, we are advancing an industry-wide initiative called Green by Digital Consortium to share and exchange CO2 emission data among companies in supply chain. We have established a framework for calculating and sharing emission and technical specification for data linkage. Last summer, with the participation of 32 companies, including those from IT, electronics, automobiles, and materials industry, we successfully concluded a demonstration project. Going forward, we will advance the phase of implementing this initiative in society while ensuring global interoperability. This is the end of my explanation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, June. Thank you for your input. I don't know, Sabina is back. Ciao, Sabina. No, she's not Sabina. Could be. Sabina is... I think, Sabina, we have a problem with your microphone. So maybe you can use a phone or... We tried, because we heard June, but we can't hear you. Can't hear you. And we can also to Guido, maybe. We disconnected too. Guido?
Yes, good morning. Can you hear me?
Ciao, Guido. Good morning. Okay, I leave you the floor.
Okay, thank you. I hope Sabina will be able to sort out the tech issues quickly. Happy to jump in, and thanks a lot for organizing this, Eleonora, for inviting us, and thank you all for the good conversation so far. I would like to, first of all, I think congratulate Anitec-Assinform for a very successful year of work during this Italian presidency. I think we've really had excellent results in the events and the documents that we've developed together. So again, thank you for all your leadership during these months. I think one of the results of this success is that the Tech7 forum has really become an effective place and vehicle to inform the G7 work, to align and amplify our voices at a global level, and also to reinforce global cooperation on technology policy. So during today's discussion, I'd like to maybe share a couple of more strategic considerations as well as a few more substantive ideas for the future. And in terms of strategic priorities, I think our first suggestion is to, of course, continue raising the Tech7 branding and the awareness of what Tech7 means among policymakers and also with the press and other external stakeholders. And that probably should include solidifying our status as an official industry partner of the digital and industry G7 ministerials. to this goal, probably reflecting on something along the lines of a logo or a mission statement, or maybe a recurring annual conference from tech7, really aiming to be as visible and as influential as the B7 group. The second consideration and suggestion would be to also increase the tech7 involvement on global fora other than the G7. For examples, just like the G7, the AI Safety and Action Summits are also working on advanced AI. So it would be advisable to maintain consistency across these work streams and reiterate the messages that we develop for the G7 also in the context of the annual action or safety summits for AI. Another important forum is, of course, WTO. And we would highly welcome using that tech7 to boost the presence and advance our advocacy on trade and tech policy issues also at the WTO level. And finally, when we look at emerging tech, we definitely think tech7 can be an instrumental vehicle to shaping early conversation on topics like 6G and quantum that are now emerging in many jurisdictions. When it comes to our policy priorities, I think we've heard a few recommendations already, but certainly I think one very important one for us that goes across anything from AI to privacy and cyber and sustainable technology and emerging tech, as well as trade and digital trade, is the importance of continuing to make the case for interoperability and convergence of policies globally, and also continue referencing global standards as an important support to policy regulation. When it comes specifically to AI and advanced AI in particular, again, the emphasis on interoperability across governance frameworks is especially relevant since the G7 has been instrumental to foster consensus with the Hiroshima process. So we should definitely continue to work on that. And also, I think our work on AI adoption has been key and continues to be key to raise awareness on use cases, but also on the main obstacles that industry still encounters for AI uptake. And finally, we already see a number of emerging issues, for example, around AI and copyright, sustainability and data center issues that are related to increased AI uptake, and also AI and cybersecurity. Moving on from AI to privacy, another area where we think that tech7 work would be highly beneficial is, of course, continuing to strongly support facilitation of global data flows, and also in particular in support of the data free flows with trust initiative. The third policy area that I want to spend a moment on is sustainable technology. And this is an area where we see many governments being increasingly active. So again, the tech7 can be an important forum to align our views, to boost our presence in global initiatives on sustainability, and also to highlight the tech's enabling potential for sustainability goals. And Stella has already made some very concrete points about this as well. So I'd like to echo that too. And finally, my last point relates to trade and digital trade. As I said earlier, we believe it would be very beneficial for the tech7 to be more engaged in this, in particular in the WTO. But more generally, we believe we should continue making the case for the importance of collaboration between like-minded countries on trade and technology. And this is particularly important, I think, in view of the US elections and their potential impacts on transatlantic trade relations that, of course, affect most of our tech7 partners. Finally, on trade, I think we should also pay attention to the increasing shift towards economic security discussions that is affecting discussions both in Europe but also elsewhere, and that might have some problematic reverberations moving forward. And I think this is all that I had that I wanted to say. Again, thank you all, and I'm looking forward to continue cooperation with all of you, and especially with TechNation for next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Guido. I think you give us a lot of work to do for the next years, because you just raise up the level for us. So thank you for your greetings too. I don't know if Joël Josker from Digital Europe is online, and we're trying to fix Sabina Microsoft at all. Is Joël there?
Yes, I'm here. I mean, unless Sabina would want to go first.
I don't know, because I think she has some problems with his microphone, so we are trying to fix it.
Very good. Then I'm happy to go
Joël
ahead.
from Digital Europe. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, good morning. This is Joel Gushka, Senior Manager for International Affairs and Trade Policy at Digital Europe. And I'm glad to be joining you today virtually from Brussels to beautiful Como on behalf of Digital Europe, representing 41 national trade associations, 109 corporate members, and over 45,000 digitizing businesses across Europe. Maybe I should start by thanking Anitec-Assinform for all the leadership and engagement at this year's tech7. As you know, we participated in the tech7 event in Rome, which I really thought were excellent, just like the tech7 event last year in Tokyo. Together in the tech7, we encourage G7 governments to work together on data flows, critical technologies, and a common rule book for the digital economy. And today, at this event in the G7, the margins of the G7 Digital Ministerial, let me make 4 points, namely on AI, cyber, 6G, and critical technologies. Firstly, on AI, I think what has become clear out of our joint advocacy is that no single nation can address AI challenges alone. This is, and I think we've heard it a lot today already, why building on the G7 Hiroshima AI process is key to fostering dialogue with industry and ensuring practical, feasible, pro-innovation and risk-based frameworks. The Hiroshima AI process should foster shared understandings across countries to align AI governance frameworks, and particularly in this context, leveraging international standards ensures clarity, interoperability, and supports global trade. Our ask thus is clear. G7 governments should continue to engage in industry consultations for the Hiroshima AI process, thus fostering a framework that balances safety, risk mitigation, and innovation. Secondly, on cyber, in May this year, as Digital Europe, we published a paper called A Security Symphony with the Aspen Institute. And our joint assessment in the report is that regulatory fragmentation in cybersecurity hinders system protection and delays incident response. This is why in the tech7, we have highlighted the value of facilitating mutual recognition agreements amongst like-minded countries and promoting internationally recognized cybersecurity standards. This is where the G7 can come in an effort to integrate cybersecurity into all stages of regulation harmonization. Thirdly, on 5 and 6G. It is clear today that a thriving digital economy relies on trusted digital infrastructure. Therefore, accelerating 5G deployment is key, and is also a decisive step towards advanced 5G and 6G. Our ask thus is clear again. G7 countries should aim for global 6G leadership and leverage national research programs through coordinated international efforts. And lastly, on critical technologies. The G7 should maintain the momentum from past G7 efforts on the international economic security agenda. As Digital Europe outlined in our study, the EU's critical tech gap, Europe lags behind in 7 out of the 8 critical technologies we analyzed. But these shortcomings can be mitigated, specifically by enhancing cooperation with like-minded partners, with benefits for all. This is where the G7 must play a decisive role. G7 countries must thus expand trade collaboration with new commitments, exchange best practices on their respective approaches to economic security and critical technologies. They must enforce existing rules, ensure data flows, address forced localization challenges, thus avoiding a protectionist trap. So just to end, on behalf of Digital Europe, I want to reiterate our congratulations and gratefulness to Anitec-Assinform for having successfully led the tech7 during the Italian presidency. I think together in the tech7 we have produced real results, and we look forward to maintaining this momentum under the Canadian presidency and Tech Nation Canada. As always, as Digital Europe, we remain available to support and contribute. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Joa. Let me add that I was very lucky, because it's the first time we had never heard about the Rapporto Draghi. There was normally the main topics we had on the agenda where we talked about Europe and digital policy. So I'm lucky that it was not it's the first time I never heard about it today. Just one thing I want to add before leaving the floor to Sabina, because one of the topics we never mentioned for next G7, probably we're gonna have some about skills and gaps, skill gaps, a bit about the impact of AI on jobs. Then with another topic is probably the G7 will address in 2025. It will be an open topics, open discussion, and we know that the Nobel we have seen yesterday was announced for Acemoglu and Simon Johnson, and the other ones were all related about the impact of AI on prosperity and on job skills. So it will be very important to see in 2025 what will happen. Sabina, I try you once again. Yet. Maybe, probably she's a problem. I don't know what's happening. She has changed the microphone. We can hear you anyway. Probably it's your microphone. Probably you have a problem with your laptop, or is it something because we can't hear you even in the microphone. You have changed the microphone, sorry. Try to call her, Carlo, prova a chiamarla. Okay, go through Isabel, and Isabel W. Deputy Director General in IMEUM. She's in charge of the... Isabel, can you hear me?
Yes, I do.
Oh, welcome, Isabel. It's the first time we work together, so welcome to the Tech7, and welcome even if remotely in Calmo too. I'll leave you the floor, Isabel.
Thank you very much. I'm really glad to be with you this morning, and I'm sorry to be remotely only. I just joined Numium indeed a couple of days ago. Maybe for those who would like to be reminded about Numium, this is the leading trade association for digital companies in France. We bring together companies in different areas like digital services, software providers, platforms, and consulting firms in technology. We represent 2,500, roughly said, companies, from the largest ones to the startup. We have the biggest startup programs in France. This means that we represent 85% of the turnover of the digital sector in total. And we have 12 regional delegation and one office in Brussels with Anissa that you all know. So with our team, we are daily working on several policy sides, and most of them are really echoing what are the key policy elements that were just mentioned by colleagues, like data flows, AI, cyber, and so on. And we are very happy to move these conversations globally together with you. I would like really to thank you and take really a moment to thank you, express our gratitude to the tremendous job that has been done by the Italian presidency. Even so, if I just joined our trade association, I've been really impressed by the documents shared and all the work that you've been producing. So thank you very much, and especially to Anitec. Under your leadership, we have a lot of significant strides that have been made. The discussion is moving forward, moving global, and we need it. We desperately need it. So we have a strong commitment to fostering our cooperation to continue this momentum and this job. We are really also looking forward to work with the Canadian presidency that will succeed you. We have some proposition, and I will, so to say, steal a little bit the floor this morning to present to you an opportunity window that we have in France. Stella started to mention it. We have, in fact, a very key event, high-level event, coming to France on the 10th and 11th of February with the AI Action Summit that will bring experts and diplomats from all around the world to discuss about the next step of AI. So this is basically for us an opportunity window to make our work visible and to also be considered as a stakeholder that has recommendations to share with at that level of visibility. So also we have a huge context of changes with the new European Commission, and the Draghi report in Europe that you may be aware of has been pointing out the role and the importance of AI for moving forward. So this is also for us something very important. And for the first time, not to mention, we have AI also that has been entering our government. We have a new government in France, and for the first time, there is a minister in charge of not only digital, but AI in her title. Her name is Clara Chapaz, and I would like to ask you if I'm allowed to share a slide, maybe, with a very concrete proposal that we would like to make to this audience.
Maybe, sì, penso che tu puoi condividere le slide, una slide? È abilitata? Sì, you can share.
Okay.
Okay, you can do and share it, yeah.
In that case, I'm going to share this because it will be much easier, I believe, for the audience to follow. So we have this AI Action Summit going to happen in Paris on the 10th and 11th of February, with one day devoted for business meeting and one day devoted for a diplomatic meeting. Ahead of that, the government is organizing side events over the weekend on the 8th and 9th of February. So to give you the broader context in France, we have already started working on that with partners, and AFNUM and Stella are also part of that, all those efforts for AI that are going to be made. So we have a very concrete proposal, because ahead of that summit, we are organizing, first of all, AI Tour de France with about 15 cities, where we will demonstrate a lot of AI use cases. A lot of guest speakers are expected during those events. And this Tour de France has already been receiving a label of being part of the AI Action Summit, to be very clear. So this is a very specific event that we are organizing ahead of that summit. But usually, and on a yearly basis, we are organizing an AI France Summit. We have chosen to organize it just ahead of the AI Action Summit in order to make a continuum between what's happening in the regions, what's happening at national level, and what is happening at global level. So we would like to invite you to be part of this AI France Summit that will occur on the 7th of February. Or we would take this opportunity to invite you to organize a meeting of the tech7 in Paris the same day, in the morning, in parallel of the AI France Summit. That would give us the opportunity also to have some guests, like the minister that I just mentioned for AI and digital from France. Invite you also to have a very nice social time in Paris, and to also share, and that's the visible thing, to share our recommendations based on the job that has been done by this audience during the AI France Summit, and then also communicated to the AI Action Summit to give it the most visibility that we can. For those who are not familiar with the AI Summit, but I'm sure you are, this international summit follows the ones that have been previously organized in the UK and in Korea. So I would be very happy to work with the current presidency and the next presidency to make this happen.
Thank you, Isabel, and thank you for your proposal. I think we have noted all the dates and the event will be for us very important. Thank you, and we're great to be part of the team that we work on and for the Action Summit. I think that this is the first occasion to reiterate the role of tech7, and it will be important to be there too. So thank you, and count on us for the next year. So I don't know if Sabina is back. Maybe
one last attempt.
Oh, great! Thank you, Sabina. You reckon miracle or? Yes, you're coming.
Just please don't tell anyone I work for a tech organization.
I think it's because it's UK is an island, maybe it's that point. Thank you. I'll leave you the floor. Ciao, Sabina.
Thank you so much, Eleonora. And I'll start just by saying congratulations to Anitec. I think we can all say since Tech7 started in 2021 that this is the year where the profile of the organization was really raised, where we've seen some of our ideas kind of landing in the G7 agenda. And I have full hope and trust that Tech Nation Canada will also take it to the next level. I'll be very brief because I'm aware we are running out of time. So, I was going to kind of briefly touch upon all the work we've done on emerging tech and quantum in particular. It's great to kind of see it land on the agenda on everything from skills to supply chain resilience to secure quantum communications and kind of developing joint applications, joint access to compute resource. And I think it's a great area for Tech7 to pick and run with, and hopefully for the Canadian presidency to keep pushing on. I think it's fair to say, we'll be doing a lot of quantum work through the years to come. It's probably only just started when it comes to kind of the path to commercialization and seeing the applications come to life. So I will stop there. Sorry for the tech issues, and great to see you all. Thanks again to Anitec and Laura and the team for a great year. And looking forward to seeing everyone in Canada next year.
Thank you, Sabina. It was a hard, but we made it. So great. As we decided to open a discussion for the next presidency from the G7. We ask all our members to give a contribution to set the table for the Canadian, and I think Angela will take well note about what we're going to say today and to put in the agenda for the next event. Before I leave you the floor, let's say from Italian perspective, that we also have a lot of the topics that our colleagues have mentioned were very relevant. I think that we will have to work together on at least two topics. Then one is jobs, impact on AI for on the people, for jobs, because it's important for us to be positive, perceived positive in the market. We have to contribute to the international discussion, the global discussion, how AI will change society at large. And we will impact on people and on occupation, on development, and for young people too. And second, the other one is how we're going to deal with privacy and data protection. I think it will be an important topic. Will be on the agenda we have seen and we have released two statements last week, one for the ministerial meeting and the other one for the privacy meeting. On the privacy meeting, we have stated all together the relevance about privacy, data protection. We'll be very heard from people too. And our role is also to be well perceived from our citizens, our society. It's not only to create business, because otherwise we're going to lose the path for what will be the AI perception between our people, our colleagues. So I think that with these two topics will be on the agenda for next year. And I think that we have to work together too with our Tech7 members. Before going to Angela, so I leave our dear guest the floor. I think Accenture will be open in the discussion, so please, Costanza can come here. I'm sorry because we have to use the microphone, otherwise the telecamera, the camera on the back, we cannot see you. So I leave you Costanza Sebastiani from Accenture. Thank you. You just.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, with stereo.
Okay. Luckily, we're the tech7, so I'll find enough support. Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Anitec-Assinform, for the amazing work carried out throughout this year. I'm very pleased to be here today with the G7 Technology and Digital Ministerial meeting taking place in Como to reflect on the progress made throughout the year under the CIMA AI process and to establish priorities for the future, while remaining committed to engaging G7 nations in addressing the key technological challenges of our time. Over the past year, we've witnessed not only a deeper integration of emerging technologies into our economies, but also a strengthened partnership between the public and the private sectors. This collaborative approach, building on common principles of transparency and responsibility, is essential to promote the responsible and trustworthy development and deployment of artificial intelligence. At Accenture, we remain deeply committed to this vision, and in fact, we were recently among the signatories of the European Union AI Pact, reaffirming once again our commitment to responsible AI and to AI governance. We, in fact, embarked in our responsible AI journey 8 years ago, and we keep refining our principles and practices that we try to apply to our internal system, but also to our work with clients, supporters, and partners. Among these principles, just recall human by design, so understanding the AI impact on humans, fairness, transparency, safety, accountability, compliance, cybersecurity, and sustainability. As the Italian presidency draws to a close, we wish the next G7 presidency to continue the important work started to drive progress in technology and innovation for collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you, Costanza. So I call Bob Kimball from AWS. Thank you. Welcome in common.
Thank you very much. Make sure I get these to the right height here. Thank you for inviting AWS to share our vision and priorities for the next G7 as Canada takes the helm. And I'd really like to thank the trade associations here today and everyone who contributed to making this G7 one of the most collaborative G7s ever among industry, government, and think tanks. I really do think this is the way forward. This is a good model, and we need to keep repeating this and really triple down on this. And I want a quick shout out to Stella, because I love coming into a room when someone's talking about the cool things people are doing with AI for good. I mean, that really, that gets me. And AWS is doing many of those things in our own data centers to try to be more sustainable, to operate better, to be more secure. So thank you for that. Regulation can be good, but good regulation is better. And done right, it can really drive innovation. And the voice of industry and trade associations, like in this room, is essential to making that happen. The recently released Draghi report, and you're going to keep hearing a lot more about that, recently released Draghi report emphasized that regulation is seen by more than 60% of EU companies as an obstacle to investment. 55% of SMEs say that their greatest challenge are regulatory obstacles and administrative burden. I mean, that is stunning. And with this in mind, let's go through some of the issues we believe should be priorities in the next session. Right now, a lot of countries are approaching regulation from fear of the unknown. This is driving them to regulate every imaginable future case for AI. Developing a regulatory framework that is not based on current real-world risks will stifle innovation of the startups essential for economic growth and competitiveness. I mean, think about if you had regulated PCs based on every bad thing, every theoretical thing, every imaginable thing you might have done with a PC. right? You wouldn't have gotten off the ground. It doesn't make sense. You have to focus on what's real and what's significant. We need to make it easy for companies of all sizes to innovate and adopt AI, and this is only going to happen if there is regulatory clarity and technical feasibility. And this is especially true for jurisdictions where the application of copyright law and data protection regulations on AI remain unclear. This directly impacts the capacity to develop national champions that want to develop LLMs in local languages. These LLMs need deep pools of high-quality local language content to be accurate, unbiased, and useful. But if that content is off limits because of copyright and data protection uncertainty, local language models will be severely constrained. It's crucial that we find a way forward that enables the safe and secure use of broad-based content from the web. That's the only way generative AI is going to work. The G7 Code of Conduct should be the North Star for industry, and the Tech7 should encourage G7 governments to scale this Code of Conduct to the G20 and regional codes of conduct, like the Code of Practice for General Purpose AI in the EU. So we don't end up with a patchwork of conflicting and vague commitments that could hamper innovation. We have to develop common international standards for key AI concepts and definitions to ensure technical feasibility of regulation and regulatory clarity and international interoperability. This includes the differentiation between developers and deployers, who have very different roles in this space and very different abilities to assess and address actual risks of deployment. We must push back on growing trends to promote exclusionary practices, which would deter potential companies and organizations from entering market, and they go against trade agreements. We're concerned by growing trends of exclusionary practices and policies, limiting access to the cloud and customer freedom of choice as to what cloud they want to use, what technology do they want to use. And the bottom line is really this: the nationality of a business does not translate into security, period. Real security is provided by the best security technology that uses strong encryption controlled by the customer, combined with fully auditable transparency. It's important to acknowledge that while nationalist policies may offer a comforting sense of reassurance, they don't increase security, and they risk creating division that ultimately lead to greater insecurity. Evidence shows that security is strengthened through inclusive and collaborative approaches between trusted partners, fostering more stable environments for everyone. We encourage an emphasis in the next G7 on the need to maintain free market principles, preserving customer choice. Cloud services provide a secure, sustainable, and cost-effective way for companies of all sizes to use and scale AI. We should ensure that cloud services can continue to grow and innovate in the next 10 years like it did in the prior 10 years. That's a game-changer technology in this space and essential. And this means we should not treat cloud like telco. Cloud is a wildly different business than telco and should not be crippled by a set of rules designed for a completely different industry at a very different time. Slowing down cloud innovation would hurt European customers who want to innovate at speed. AWS joins the Tech7's call to urge the G7 countries to build on the DFFT. We've heard that several times. We're fully on board that. We've got to do the DFFT and make that happen. And this requires us to push to develop shared principles for trusted digital infrastructure like cloud computing to facilitate trust-based cross-border data flows. And lastly, we see many issues on the horizon, and people have already mentioned these, but they relate to, we have to settle copyright, data protection and privacy, and sustainability in particular. And this means really aligning on international approaches to modernize electric grids. We see this as a really serious blocker going forward, and to enable a regulatory process that allows us to bring new renewable energy generation online faster and more easily. We are doing everything we can to bring more renewable energy to the grids where we operate, but we need it to be easier. We need the regulatory burdens to be simplified and expedited. With that, we look forward to continued cooperation with the Tech7 going forward to shape a future that is tech-enabled and, I think, as the prior speaker said, human-centered. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you. I think we put on the table a lot of topics we have discussed and together with our members about regulatory burdens. Please repeat it steadily every day. So thank you for your good intervention. I think the next one will be Google, because we go by letter, alphabetical letter. Just to let the ones that are at the very end, that's the criteria. Diego Tulli had a...
We are alphabet.
Alphabet. You are alphabet.
Thank you, Eleonora. Thank you, Massimo. And thank you, Anitec-Assinform, for organizing this moment here in Como Lake that I consider quite symbolic indeed, to hopefully close the year of the rules. If when we met last year in Como Lake, most of the Italians and some of the international guests were here last year, and everybody kept repeating, AI is too important not to be regulated, AI is too important not to be regulated. Okay, you have done it. Well done, my friends. Now AI is over-regulated. We have an AI Act, a G7 Code of Conduct, probably in some months even an AI bill in Italy and in other countries. I think we really should deliver the message as a company organization that the work on the rules is done. Now we need the help of the institution to secure smooth compliance, constant and stable regulation, and adoption. Because, of course, we as a company have supported the regulatory process, but all of us really understands in this group that the G7 is the right venue to discuss rules and regulation, but also to discuss priorities and adoption. Because AI will design the geopolitical competition and how our geopolitical family will thrive or not thrive compared to others. And we really risk that in the medium term, this part of the world will not be the best part in the world to innovate and to boost disruptive innovation. For this reason, I think it's so important the coordination among business associations as Tech7 is trying to do, and to deliver a strong message probably on three things. First one is building the AI infrastructure easy. In some of the intervention before this were raised, I want to be very explicit. Today, we don't have the infrastructure that we need to build great AI in Europe and in Italy. To do that, that's the reason why we'll talk about the submarine cables panel later today, but we really need the regulator to support the building of construction by the private sector. That means submarine cables. That means a stable tax regulation around data center. And that means full embracement of the cloud, because the cloud is the basic infrastructure on which AI can be built. Second one is policies for adoption. I think we succeed as a geopolitical area, as the G7 family, if we put the same effort that we have put this year on designing policies to regulate, on designing policies for the adoption of AI by the public sector and the private sector. Honestly, I don't feel in the public debate this sentiment of urgency around the policies for adoption, but the policies for adoption as important or maybe more important than the policies for regulation. And last one, let's keep on our joint values. And it's easy to talk about joint values to differentiate us from others, but when we talk about joint values, we also have to be brave in refusing any kind of protectionism. if we have the same values against other blocks, we defend our values if we work to thrive together. Thank you, Eleonora and Massimo, again, for organizing this moment, and let's open together the year of AI adoption.
Thank you. Thank you, Diego. I think it's a turn from Alessandra Santa Croce from IBM.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you. In order to stay in the 3 minute speech, I will read my speech if it's okay for you. First of all, I want to thank Anitec-Assinform for the invitation today, but more for the great job done during the G7 presidency and the role played together with the tech7, supporting and facilitating the strong connection with the business community, which is really important in the collaboration perspective. As IBM, we do appreciate the commitment of the Italian presidency of the G7 in promoting a responsible use of AI, which represents the right balance between protecting rights and encouraging innovation in line with the Hiroshima AI principles. Furthermore, IBM applauds the approach taken by the Italian presidency to involve all the interested stakeholders and different entities to create a broad convergence on AI governance and an inclusive development. Let me restate the long-standing commitment of IBM to ethical, human-centric AI. We follow long-held principles of trust and transparency that make clear that the role of AI is to augment, not replace, human expertise and judgment. We were one of the first companies to appoint a chief ethics officer and among the first signatories of the Rome Call for AI Ethics. Looking ahead, IBM wants to restate the 3 priorities to guide responsible AI rulemaking. First, advance risk-based regulation that protect people by focusing on the riskiest real-world uses of AI, not the underlying algorithms. Second, make AI creators and deployers accountable, not immune to liability. While governments play an important role, others must also bear a responsibility. Legislation should consider the different roles of AI creators and deployers and hold them accountable in the context in which they develop or deploy AI. It is essential to find the right balance between innovation and accountability. Third, which is the most important for us, promote an open AI approach. An AI licensing regime would be a serious blow to open innovation and risks creating a form of regulatory capture. Instead, AI should be built by and for the many, not the few. To that end, a vibrant open AI ecosystem is good for competition, innovation, skilling, security. To that end, it guarantees that AI models are shaped by many diverse, inclusive voices. To this end, IBM co-launched the AI Alliance, a diverse community of AI researchers, creators, and developers committed to promoting broader, open, inclusive innovation. To conclude, let me also add a comment on the relevance of quantum as a disruptive technology which will reshape the industry, and stress the need to define, as done for AI, a clear strategy to support the country's competitiveness and get ready to protect our critical platforms. Thank you.
Thank you, Alessandra. The other, I think, Stefania, is your turn. We're going, I think, when is it your turn? Sorry, because I have the alphabet order for the names, not for the company names. So I'm trying to repeat everything.
Thank you. Good morning, and thank you again to the organizer of this very useful roundtable, which remind us of our commitment to continuous collaboration between governments, companies, and trade associations to guarantee that the digital economy contributes to fair, sustainable, and shared development. The goal of these long and intense years has been to create an AI that supports human activities through new alliance. The spirit of synergy demonstrated by Oracle over this year has been directed precisely toward this goal. We have signed a strategic partnership with other major companies in this sector, such as Microsoft, Google, Amazon AWS, to give substance in our commitment. In this context, it's reinforced that Oracle represents a trusted partner in accompanying campaigns and public institutions in the management of increasing precious asset, that is the data. We are ready to face the challenge of the future with cutting-edge technologies, certifying data protection in compliance with current regulation and helping to offer a safe AI ecosystem that respects national identities. To this end, we invite you to continue on the path undertaken within the Hiroshima process and also with this table of tech7 too, so as not to lose the momentum of this great collaboration now underway, and at the same time, the great opportunity to grow and progress that derive from it. Thank you.
Thank you, Stefania. I think, let me say, I think SAP is their turn. No, thanks, that's fine. So we go through Team System. Daniele Lombarda, our Vice President. Daniele, your turn. Please introduce yourself.
Good morning to everyone. And first of all, I don't want to repeat what we already heard, but I really want to join in the congratulations to Anitec-Assinform, my president, Massimo Dal Checco, Eleonora, and all the participants who joined these initiatives, and I think did a huge work, a really extraordinary work, to give recommendations and a lot of contents, and which I think are very, very useful in a fast-changing world where technology is maybe a bit complex to be understood. So I think the cooperation among private and public sector is really crucial. Well, I will try to stay and to be sustainable in my speech. So I would just like to recall a couple of words that really impressed me. First of all, I would like to thank Stella for all the examples that she presented about the positive impact of AI. As Team System, we work with around 2 million SMEs. Actually, our mission is to digitize every SME. So I will give you just some, from the field, some practical example as well. We are introducing AI in most of our products, and what we are seeing is, in some cases, like for example, accounting, saving of time up to 50%. So I think this is a clear example of on the fact that AI is very concrete, is something of today, not of tomorrow. And it's also very, very, very positive for the future, for sure. How we will transform these benefits in competitiveness for our SMEs will be a key point to be discussed in the next presidency, for example. So the impact, positive impact on workers for a responsible AI, which was a word that I liked very much. Policies for adoption is another word that inspired me during this discussion. Well, I will give another example, a very practical example. We had in Italy some years ago, well, the introduction of electronic invoicing. I think this was maybe the largest wave of digitalization that we had in the last years, and this was really a cooperation between public and private sector with benefit for companies and for the public administration, and it was not based on incentives or investments from public to the private sector. It was just a clear rule which helped to create a digital ecosystem. So I believe this is the way for the future, and creating standards, policies, best practices to be spread around our countries is the way to help our companies to cooperate in a digital way. But when you get digital and you start to open doors and windows in the ecosystem, you need to protect yourself. So the topic of the cybersecurity, we believe, will be really crucial for the future. And also here, maybe we will need to help companies to adopt standards and practices, common practices, to make sure that a threat to a company or an incident in a company does not spread to the rest of the ecosystem. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Daniele. So I think we're gonna close this event. I wanna sorry. Very, very sorry. Ludovica, please. Ludovica Ciavarrano, QTI. Because it's not in order, just you went at the very beginnings. Sorry for you.
The name, the companies, and so on. Thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank you, Anitec-Assinform, for conveying this insightful occasion for discussion and for the work done so far, also together with the other tech7. And some introduction. My name is Ludovica Ciaravano. I'm from QTI, that stands for Quantum Telecommunications Italy. We're an Italian company operating in the cybersecurity sector and within the TIM group. So essentially, we develop quantum key distribution systems. And today, I'd like to connect to previous contributions by Tech UK, by IBM, and also to the focus on the technology mentioned by AWS on the technology, and bring to this table the theme of quantum technologies to bring some complexity to this table, but also the real reason is that we think that governments should be aware of all the technological solutions available to foster innovation and also possibly being the early adopters of these new technologies. And I'd like to focus on 2 points. The first one is investments. I'd like to recall the joint declaration issued by this same associations last April, advocating for a clear commitment by the G7 governments to invest in cutting-edge technologies, including quantum technologies, and this to foster innovation. But in quantum technology, we can also reach other goals, other objectives. For example, for instance, promoting cybersecurity and enhance the resiliency of digital infrastructure. And in this way, we can really understand the double side of the coin of the innovative technologies. And this leads me to the second point, that is shared vision and cooperation among the G7 countries. And in particular, we know that for countering new cyber threats and the risk posed by quantum computing, 2 main approaches exist today that are QKD and PQC, post-quantum cryptography. And we saw that governments, the G7 governments, adopted stances in favor of one or the other approach. We believe that we need to understand, of course, the advantages and the disadvantages of both approaches, while at the same time supporting both technologies. We think that there is a room for a coordinated vision, also promoted by policy instruments and tools to uphold both approaches and see what we can reach with both technologies. And we look forward to the next presidency or Canadian presidency, because there are a lot of connections and cooperative initiatives in the quantum technology field. Thank you.
Thank you, Ludovica, and sorry for forgetting you before. I think we can go to the end, and I will rapidly leave the floor to our colleagues from Technician. So I think she's connected. Angela Mundu, are you there, Angela? Yeah.
Hello.
Hello. Before to leave you the floor and to allow you to conclude this roundtable, this discussion we have today, I want to thank you also, all of you, because you are your jet lag is like in Japan and Canada now is not exactly midday. So I want to thank you all because you woke up early, and thank you for joining us. And sorry for the timetable. Next time, I think you will lead the floor, and Italians will follow you. So no problem. Everything goes back. And also, I want to thank all the members. This will be probably our last event about the tech7 as Italian leader, as Anitec-Assinform. I think we have done a good job all together. I want to thank also my staff, because without our people, we normally can do anything. So thank you, Carlo, Ettore, and everyone is connected remotely. I think that we are following us from Rome and Milan. And I want to thank all our technician and all the other associations, because I think we're going to work together in 2025, and next president will be important for us all to reinforce our cooperation, because our members are most the same. Sometimes every one of us have also national members, so the importance even to share knowledge between member and country is important too. I think there are a lot of best practices we can share. There are a lot of experience in our countries. We are different, but we're similar. And in differences, we normally grow. So it's important to work together. Thank you all, and see you in Canada. And so, Angela, is your floor.
Thank you so much. And I really wish I was having jet lag over there with you guys in Lake Como versus 5 o'clock on this very cold morning in Canada. We are seriously honored to be receiving the Tech7 baton from Anitec-Assinform and to carry on with this really important mission with Technician in Canada. This March, I had the opportunity to experience Tech7 in action at the beautiful Palazzo Ferragioli in Roma with all of you at Team Italia, our Tech7 colleagues from around the world. And I have to say that you all set the stage. So we have a hard act to follow. Technician Canada commits to work with everyone, all of our Tech7 colleagues, our many partners around the world, to define Tech7 priorities and really the critical role that digital transformation, AI, emerging tech must play as the world navigates future competitiveness, sustainability, climate crisis, global security. We heard about AI adoption today, governance, you name it. Obviously, we all know and understand the critical importance of technology underlying really the entire future of where this planet is moving towards. And ultimately, we have to influence our G7 digital ministers, our prime ministers and presidents in these critical priority areas. And I'd really like to say that I was particularly inspired this year by the incredible work that Anitec team has put into this year's G7 program and the effort you did to continue to drive the progress on everything from the exponential impact of digital information, cybersecurity, and frontier technology to continuing to drive the debate on data protection balanced with DFFT, bringing forward 6G, digital transformation of small, medium enterprises, which is a significant area of focus around the world, as well as quantum, which we've heard much about today. So again, congratulations, Massimo, Eleonora, and Team Italia. One area I want to emphasize that I really strongly believe is how Tech7 plays a global leadership role, particularly around the paramount need for public and private sector strategic partnerships, particularly during this time of global volatility. And I believe our mission as Tech7 does have impact, it has influence. We do not simply put challenges on the table for public sector leaders. We present future-driven recommendations and solutions for public sectors and leaders around the world. And I'd like to share with you the impact that can come from our global Tech7 partnership. Today's statement calls for global interoperability across AI, cybersecurity, digital trade, and Tech Nation has been able to implement a key Tech7 priority. In Rome, I had the opportunity to speak on cybersecurity and AI and the role that it plays in accelerating national and global security. It's a particular area of passion for me. I was many years ago a military officer posted to NATO command in Europe and take anything to do with national security and global security extremely importantly. And 2 years ago, Tech Nation was able to launch a cybersecurity task force. Our mandate was really to drive greater collaboration across our public sector leaders. Obviously, all of us in the tech sector have, and particularly the associations, have a number of national and global cybersecurity experts in the tech sector. And we were able to, over the last 2 years through this task force, and most recently a couple of weeks ago, lead 2 roundtables with 6 cybersecurity deputy ministers, including our head of Canada's Centre for Cybersecurity. In the words of one of our ministers a couple of weeks ago in our closed room session, we had almost every leader of Canada's cybersecurity expertise from the public sector at the table. We definitely covered topics like critical topics, including the skill shortage, but our emphasis was on sharing cybersecurity threat intelligence, which was the topic I spoke this year in Rome. And over the past 18 months, we've had significant collaboration with our senior deputy ministers, our Tech Nation and tech sector members, and a cybersecurity working group was established, and we certainly accomplished many things, including the ability to share threat intelligence at top secret levels between security cleared industry and public sector leaders. This is a huge accomplishment that really was put on the table by Tech7. I was able to kind of run with the discussion that we had in Rome and bring this further back home in Canada. So I really do think that as Tech7 leaders, we can step back and understand that we are having impact. And we certainly in Canada look forward to continuing not just the dialogue, but taking action and making a difference around the world. Team Italia and Anitec-Assinform, I really do want to thank you for your incredible work this year and extend congratulations to you and your team and all of the significant, even the recent conferences that you've had in the last couple of months and the cap-off that you're having today. So what's next and what do we want to expect from Canada? Next week, we're launching Canada's Tech7 G7 Executive Council, made up of 6 national leaders with global positions, and they represent everything from big tech to small, medium enterprises to cybersecurity to policy. Their role as an exec council is going to be to advise on the vision and mission for Tech7 G7 2025 in Canada and to help steer the planning for next year's initiatives. I also want to recognize and thank Jason Oxman from ITI and Julian David from Tech UK who've agreed to work with us as we prepare and host the 2025 Tech7 Summit. In Italy, we certainly hope that you can join us as well next week. We're in touch with you behind the scenes. We're also going to be kicking off, as I just mentioned, our first Executive Council meeting next week to continue the great work that's been done, build out the topics to consider for next year in this environment of really immense global volatility and geopolitics, but also the incredible work and progress that technology and emerging tech is making around the world in all of these areas. On behalf of Pratt and I, we're also starting and have already started the discussion with our global affairs in Canada. They lead the G7 and G20 initiatives in Canada. One of the missions that we have put on the table is to get tech7 official status across G7, much like our colleagues at B7, given that technology is clearly the driving force of the global economy and obviously a critical player in everything that happens in the world today. Ultimately, with tech7 and all of your support, we want to continue this very coordinated approach of global interoperability, common standards, and also building a powerful and influential program that'll facilitate the support of our G7 digital ministers. Since 2021, tech7 has been represented by leading technology associations and members, much like we have in the room today with all of you from our G7 countries. Together, we've been able to deliver a unified, powerful global voice for the tech sector, leveraging digitalization, responsible AI, sustainable innovation to address global challenges and capitalize on emerging opportunities. And although we haven't yet finalized our overarching theme for 2025, we can definitely commit that we will continue to build on tech7's work to date in shaping our economic future, promoting sustainability, protecting democracy. So as we forge forward, I look forward to collaborating with every one of you around the table today, our colleagues around the world, and look forward to sharing progress very soon with all of you. Again, thank you, Anitec-Assinform, Team Italia. You've set the stage for Canada.
Thank you, Angela. Thank you. And good luck for next year. So we are just in time. I'm so happy because we'll just respect our timetable. So thank you all for being here today. Have a good Como Lake Day. Thank you.
Wow.